Hello book huggers, this is Jen, and let's see what's on my shelf. Sana from Books and Quills recently did her third on my shelf challenge tag thing, whatever this is, where she put the call out on Twitter for people to give her a shelf number and a book number, and then she goes and pulls that corresponding book off her shelf and tells you about it, whether she's read it or whether she hasn't read it. And this is kind of a response video to that, and a participation in the tag. Is it a tag? I don't know. Anyway, this is a response to that video. And she kindly gave us numbers at the end of that video to pull off of our shelves, and so that's what I've done today. So basically, in my very small house that I'm looking around that you can't see, I have two big bookshelves in the guest room, one giant IKEA Expedite, I think that's how you pronounce that, bookshelf in our bedroom, and then in our converted one-car garage we have like 4 bookshelves out there. So I stuck to the ones in the house, and here's what I found on those shelves. So the first number Sana gave us was 1-3, so shelf 1, book 3, and that was David McCullough's John Adams. I will tell you that I believe this is my husband's book. All of our books are sort of mixed together, and he really loves to read nonfiction, he really loves to read biographies, and I do too, but I'm pretty sure I remember him getting this when it first came out. He's also a huge fan of David McCullough's books and has read pretty much everything he's written. So I have not read John Adams, though my husband raves about this book, and so someday I'm sure that I will. The second number was shelf 2, book number 8, and that book is The Yellow Lighted Bookshop, A Memoir, a History by Louis Busby. And I also have not read this one, but I do remember buying this. We were in Sun Valley, Idaho several years ago, and we walked into the bookstore there. It's called Iconoclast Books, and it was in its former location. If you've ever been to Sun Valley, you know it's moved since then. But it was in its former location, and we walked in, and we walked right into the middle of a book signing and book discussion by Anthony Doerr, which was completely surprised because we didn't know he was supposed to be there. And at the time he was promoting his book, I think 4 Seasons in Rome is what it's called. But now, of course, he's the author of All the Light You Cannot See, which is an amazing, amazing book if you haven't read it. It's won tons of awards and it's amazing. But this day we walked into Iconoclast Books and he was talking about his book, and we got to talk to him afterwards and get books signed. And then as we were on the way to the checkout, I just happened out of the corner of my eye to see this book called The Yellow Lighted Bookshop and see that it's about a man who is a former bookseller and bookshop owner, and he's talking about his own bookshops and his own experiences in bookshops, but also his travels to bookshops around the world and the history of bookstores and libraries and books in general. And I snatched it and put it on our pile and bought it, and still haven't read it yet. But I'm kind of delighted by this challenge, or this on my shelf thing that we're doing right now, because I'd forgotten I had this book and I really want to read it now. So it might go on my TBR pile for the next couple of months. I am currently a librarian. I love working for libraries. I have in the past worked in a large chain bookstore, but my dream is to one day have my own small independent bookstore in a really pretty building in a cool location, and so I think I might have to read this one now. The next number is shelf 6, book 1, and that book is How to Be Parisian Wherever You Are, Love, Style, and Bad Habits by 4 names that I am probably going to butcher here: Anne Barrist, Audrey Dewan, Caroline de Maigret, and Sophie Moss. I'm really sorry, ladies. My husband got this book for me after we went to Paris. When we got back, and we were both very sad that we weren't still in Paris and London. I think he picked it up at Barnes & Noble and brought it home to me because he thought I might like it. I remember reading this when he brought it home pretty immediately, but I don't remember a ton about it. As I flip back through it, it's full of really pretty photographs and lists and essay-ish kind of things, recipes. It was a really, really quick read, and I don't remember a ton about it, except that I didn't love it. I do remember that it was written in a kind of condescending tone. There were definitely things I did like about it. Again, the packaging of it is great, the design of it is great, the photos and those kinds of things are great, but a lot of it was kind of, I don't know, I didn't love it. But I've read it, and this was on my shelf. The next number is Shelf 8, Book 15, and that is Wildwood by Carson Ellis of the Decemberists. And I have had this for several years, pretty much since it came out, and I actually have the sequel on my shelf too. Have not read it. The first book is about a girl who lived in Portland, Oregon, and there are these sort of treacherous, spooky woods that surround Portland, Oregon in this story. And she's out with her baby brother, kind of in a little cart on the back of her bike, and these giant birds come and pick up her brother and take him into the forest, and she has to go in and save him. And I have no idea why I haven't read this yet. I have no idea, but it's a beautiful book, as you can see. So pretty. It has deckled edges and illustrations throughout by his wife Carson Ellis, and I should read it. I should read it. I have no excuse. And the last number is Shelf 3, Book 24, and that is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clark. And I haven't read this. I have had it since it came out. I bought it when we lived in Fort Worth, Texas, like 1,000 billion years ago. Time. It's kind of like math. I have started it a bunch of times, and you might be saying, but Jen, you love books with magic and stuff. I do. I love books with magic and stuff. I still haven't read this book. I've started it several times, like I said. I remember the places that I was in when I started reading it. I haven't finished it. Haven't really gotten past the first couple of chapters. And recently the miniseries was on TV, and I tried to watch it, and I didn't really like it either. I don't know what it is. It's been so long since I've even tried to read it that I don't remember anything about it, the writing style, anything really, and so maybe I should give it another try. I just keep thinking it's something that I definitely should love, because it's totally up my alley, but I haven't read it, haven't done it. I don't know why. Anyway. Still on my shelf. Still hopeful to read it someday. Okay, that's my 5 books. This was really fun. I like being able to go back, and in the case of the Yellow Lighted Bookshop, finding books that I forgot I had on my shelf and remembering the stories about where we got it and what we were doing, and yeah. If you would like to see what's on your shelf, you can use the numbers that Sana gave us, or I am going to give you 5 numbers as well. So the first number is 215, the second number is 722, the third number is 42, and the fourth number is 120. The fifth number is 97. There you go. It's hard to pick numbers while staring into space. Anyway, I will put all of my numbers in the bookshelves below. I'll put Sana's numbers in the bookshelves below, and yeah, do your own. It's kind of a fun adventure, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hey book huggers, this is Jen, and we're gonna do the what's on my shelf thing. It's exactly what it's called.